Dear student, in this lecture we shall study about computer instructions, timing and control. During the computer instructions topic, we shall study about the instruction format, basic computer instructions and instruction set completeness. And in addition to that, we shall study about timing and control unit of the computers. In the previous lecture, we have studied about the configuration of the basic computer. Now, about the instruction format, the basic computer under consideration has the three types of the instructions. Memory reference instructions, register reference instructions and input output instructions. Each type of instruction has 16-bit instruction format as explained earlier also. Now we shall study about memory reference instructions. Here from the diagram itself it will be explained. The memory reference instruction uses 1 bit for the addressing mode, that is the indirect bit, 3 bits for the operation code and 12 bits for the address. Now whenever the I is equal to 0, then it is using the direct addressing scheme, and when I is equal to 1, then it is using the indirect addressing scheme. Whereas about the register reference instructions, here the operation code is fixed, that is the 111, and left mode placed as a 0, right? And the operation has been specified or on the test on the accumulator, because it is a register operation. Then the operation will involve at least one register which is known as the accumulator. Therefore, it specifies an operation instead of the address. It specifies an operation on a test for the use of the accumulator with 12 bits address code. So, what are exactly if we go for that, the difference between memory reference instruction and the register reference instruction is this, that in register reference memory reference instruction, this I bit is variable. It is 0 for direct addressing and 1 for indirect addressing, and operation code has been specified from the memory reference instructions, which we'll study later on. And there is an addressing scheme, address whether it may be direct or indirect, that's for the addressing scheme. Whereas in the register reference instructions, these opcode 3 bits are fixed to the 111, this indirect bit is fixed to the 0, and this particular address part consists of the register operation, which signifies the operation or the test of the accumulator. Input output instructions are quite similar to the register reference instruction, because they involve also the input output registers. They also have the opcode bits as the 111, whereas the indirect bit as the 1, and the 12 bits for the address are going to be used to specify the input output operation for the purpose. Here is the list of the basic computer instructions which is there under consideration the computer. First one, if we go for the AND, here it is basically the hexadecimal codes have been written. If it is using the direct addressing, then this will be the hexadecimal code. If it is indirect addressing, then it will be the hexadecimal code. Now AND basically what to do, whatever is being done by the AND memory word to the AC. It means it applies the AND operator between the contents of the accumulator and the memory word, and it applies the addition between the memory word and the accumulator. LDA, that is a load memory word to the accumulator. If you recall your the common bus system, so we have loaded the words to the accumulator either from the data register or from the input or from the accumulator itself. So whenever the load control of the accumulator is active, then this instruction works. STA is the store content of the accumulator into the memory. Now you just recall that accumulator has an output towards the common bus. So whenever we have to store the accumulator contents into the memory, then we use the STA command, which transfers the accumulator components into the common bus and then to the memory. BUN is the branch unconditionally. Just like if you recall the go to statement into the C language, it is quite similar to that. There is no condition is associated, but it will branch or it will jump from the one location to another location by breaking the sequence. BSA is the branch and save return address. In this particular instruction, we use the stacks. What we do whenever we jump to the by breaking the sequence from the one location to another, then the return statement has been used. Just like you just recall the functions into the C language, there we go for the return statement. Then whenever that particular branch will be completed, then it will come to the next instruction to be executed after the into the sequence. ISZ increment and skip if 0. If your flag is 0, then you just have increment and skip the next instruction. Then there is a CLA command, that is for the clear accumulator. Now these are the register reference instruction. The direct addressing code has been given. CLA is the clear flag. If you just recall the common bus system, with the accumulator there is one flag, one bit flag E has been written, that is your the clear, where it will set to reset to the 0. CMA is the complement accumulator. CMA is E. CMA is the complement E. Complement means it will convert 0 to 1 and 1 to 0. CIR, circulate, write, accumulator and E. You just recall the shift registers where we are going to circular write shift between the components of the accumulator and the E flag. CIL is the circulate, left, accumulator and E. It is the circular register, left register. It is the working like a circular left register between the accumulator and the E. INC is increment accumulator. SPA, skip next instruction if AC is positive, accumulator is positive. Now see here, how will we come to know whether the components of the accumulator are the positive or the negative? We know that into the complement arithmetic, the most significant bit is used as an sign bit. If it is 0, it means the bit number 15 or the 16th bit of the data, or the most significant bit you can say. If it is 0, then the accumulator contents are positive. If it is 1, then accumulator contents are negative. Right? So if accumulator contents are positive, then it will skip the next instruction and go to the next instruction. Similarly, SNA will go for skip next instruction if AC is negative, then it will skip to the next instruction. SZA, similarly, if all zeros into the accumulator, then it will skip the next instruction. Then we go for SZE, that is the skip next instruction if the flag is 0. This is basically the conditional jump statements you can say, right? If accumulator is positive, then jump. If accumulator is negative, then jump. If accumulator is 0, then jump. If flag is 0, then jump. And after that there is a halt. Halt means to shut down the system, just like you did, or basically the computer program. Then there are input output register related instructions are there. INP, that is the input character to the accumulator. OUT, output character from the accumulator. SKI, skip on the input flag. If input flag is there, then skip. SKO, skip on the output flag. If output flag is there, then skip the instruction. ION, interrupt on. IOF, interrupt off. About the interrupts we will study in the later lectures. Basically, input output devices or any peripherals are much slower than the computer processors. That's why whenever till then they are not ready, we allow the interrupt on the instructions for the which are related to the peripherals, basically the input output, and when they are ready, then we call the interrupt, recall the interrupt and execute those instructions. Now we'll talk something about the instruction set completeness. When we have studied about this particular set of the instructions, there are a lot of instructions are there. Whether it is a complete set of the instruction or not, it is a matter of the question. Now, when an instruction set can be set completed, So we can say that computer should have set of instructions so that user can make machine language program to evaluate any computable function. Whatever you want to do work with a high level language or the computation with a high level language, there should be an equivalent set of the instructions, or there is a sequence of the instruction, feasible sequence of the instruction to be converted into the machine language. The set of instruction is said to be completed only if computer needs sufficient number to evaluate all computable functions. That's basically the answer has been calculated itself. What exactly should be the components of the instruction set? It should have the arithmetical, logical and shift instructions to provide computational capabilities for the type of data that user wants to employ. Any type of the arithmetic calculation you want to do, your logical or the shift right, shift left instructions, what we have studied earlier also, such type of instruction must be there for the instruction set completeness. Instruction for moving information to and from memory and processor register. Because the bulk data is available in memory and processing is made through the registers, therefore if the instructions are not there which can move the data from the register to the memory or the vice versa, then it will not be feasible to a proper access of the operands and operations cannot be applied properly on the operands. After that, there are program control instructions together with the instructions that check the status conditions. We are saying that if flag is 0, if flag is 1, these basically is known as the status condition, status check condition. If the number is negative, if calculator is positive, all these things are known as the status check conditions. Or program control instructions where skip if 0, skip if positive, skip if negative, skip if output flag. These are known as the program control instructions. Just like in high level language, we can say if condition, else if condition, right? These are the similar to such type of instruction must be there. Then we go for the input and output instruction. That is very much essential to communicate between the computer and the user. The processing will be of no use if it cannot be communicated properly, the output to the user, and it cannot take input from the user. Now, if we come back on our instruction set, so see here, these are arithmetical and logical instructions. These are, you see here, arithmetic, logical and shift instructions, moving instructions from memory to register whenever we are going to store the data to the accumulator, input character to the accumulator. It is basically a good example, output character from the accumulator, that is to communicate between the register and the memory. Program control instructions, I already explained that SKI, that skip if 0, skip if negative, skip if positive, and like this. And input output instructions, see here, this skip on the input flag means now the interrupt calls, they all are the input output related instructions. So we can say that in the fundamental, our instruction set for this particular basic computer is complete and we can perform all the operations using this instruction set. Some question might come into the mind, how will we apply the subtraction operation? There is only one instruction, that is yours is the add. Okay, no issue. See here, if you just want to subtract the two numbers, first add the number which is going to be secreted to the accumulator, then complement it, then apply the add operation with the accumulator. You can say if you want to write a minus b, instead of that you have to write a plus minus b, right? Then this subtraction operation can be performed. Similarly, for the multiplication, we can go for the multiple additions. If you want to go multiply 2 multiply by the 5, add 2 to the 5 times. So this computer can perform all the basic arithmetic operations, and similar with the logical operations also. Now we come on the one of the most important thing, how the timing and controls are being done using the computer system. So see here, the timing of all the registers in basic computer are controlled by master clock generator. Earlier I told you in the common bus system also there is a clock then clock may be positive edge triggered or the negative edge triggered, right? So whenever if the positive edge triggered, then during the positive transition, and for the negative edge triggered during the negative transition, the communication takes place. It is how basically the registers are being controlled using the timing. The clock pulse do not, yeah, it's well explained again. The clock pulse do not change the state of the register unless the register is enabled by a controlled signal. Your clock pulse is going to change, but for the status signals or the control signal S0, S1 and S2 are not set, clock will not able to change that particular register, right? So there are two things which are required to be control a register. First is its timing, its clock cycle, and second is its control signal. Whatever in the common bus we were using with the S0, S1 and S2. Control signals are generated in control unit and provide the control inputs. There are two major type of the controls are there. First one is yours the hardwired control, and second is yours is the micro programmed control system. Hardwired control, from the name itself it is clear that it is implemented with digital circuits like flip-flops, decoders, encoders, multiplexers, etc. Or whatever type of the combinational circuits or the sequential circuits, any type of the circuits can be used here. Can be optimized to produce fast mode of the operation. Here what is going to happen in the hardware control, we want addition, we can directly apply the adders here, half adder, full adder. If we want to use the subtractors, we can use half subtractor, full subtractor and so on, right? So then to apply for the or to produce the faster mode of the operations, we can apply the direct circuit of that into the motherboard. Since we have to apply the new circuits, then it requires a change in the circuit. So design has to be modified again and again, which is really a challenging task. And another one is used is the micro program control unit. We are majorly working on the micro program control unit, in which the control information is stored into the controlled memory. The control memory is programmed to initiate the required sequence of the micro operations. Whatever the basic computer we are studying since the start of the first lecture, we are working for the micro program control unit. I told you when in the previous example, in our instruction set, subtraction instruction is not there. So then there is no issue. We have the complement instruction, we have the addition instruction. The number will be subtracted, will be complemented, and then it will be added into the another number. Then it will perform the subtraction operation. No need of the subtractor at all, right? So whenever we want to change, we just have to change the micro program into the control memory. That is in a software level changes, not the hardware level changes. Now see here, it is the structure of the timing and the control unit of the basic computer. You will see here, it consists of the two decoders. This is your 3x8 decoder, and it is yours is the 4x16 decoder, right? And there is a sequence counter which checks the sequence. 4-bit sequence counter is there. It means it can see the 16-bit sequence. 2 raised to power 4 is equal to the 16. This is yours is the control logic gates. Control outputs will be here and other inputs will be there from here. It is yours is the instruction register consists of the 16-bit instructions. Here the first 12 bits which are going to be used for the address, right? This will be transferred into the control logic gates, and from this 3 bits operation code, the 3x8 decoder will give its input here. For the operation to be performed, it will give you the address of the operand. This 16th bit, this 16th bit is another indirect bit. It will tell you whether what type of the addressing has been used. It means the control of this particular thing, how this particular address calculation will execute, it depends totally on this 16 bit on the indirect bit. If it is 0, then it will indicate to the control and logic gate that the direct addressing scheme is going to be used. If it is 1, then it will indicate to the control logic gates that indirect addressing scheme is going to be used, and it will fetch the operand accordingly. It will give the control outputs accordingly, whether it is the direct addressing or indirect addressing. And for the micro operation from this decoder, whatever the information has been received, it will provide that to all. Similarly, there is then a sequence counter. There are the number of instructions are there. The sequence counter. First, it has the 3 different controls also: the increment, clear, and the clock. Clock basically is introduced whenever it will be activated. Like previous one also. Clear, whenever we activate the clear input, it resets the sequence counter to all zeros. So you can say the clear input is there for to reset or to set the sequence counter to all zeros, right? And increment is to increment by the 1 unit. Now this 4-bit sequence counter is giving the input to the 4/16 decoder, which is giving to the clock pulses from the T0 to T15. There are 16 different pulses for the 16 different bits are there: T0, T1, T2, T4, and so on. Now see here, there is a relationship between the timing signals, right, and the control signal. See the clock. Clock has started uniformly. It is the positive edge. For the major time, it is for the negative edge. Then it is for the positive edge, for negative edge, for positive edge, for negative edge, and so on. It is uniformly distributing for the one cycle for the working for the transition period, and rest is for the non-transitional period. Now for the timing signal, the T0. If T0 is activated for the first cycle of the clock, then rest of all the timing signals are inactive at that time, including the decoder and all the things. Into the T1, when T1 is activated, that is in the higher edge, then T0, T2, T3, T4, everyone is inactive. When T2 signal is there, then your T0, T1 and T3 are deactivated. When T3 is there, then rest of the previous 3 are inactive. It means at the one time only one timing signal to control the things will work on. After the 4 cycles, once again T0 will work and this sequence will be maintained. Now see here about your input for D3. If we will go back to the circuit, this one is there. This decoder has been provided D0, D1, D2, D3, D4, D5, D6 and D7. So 3-byte decoder has decoded the operation code unit into the 8-bit operations. Now see here. Here it is D3. Whenever D3 is this D4, T4 and D3 both are high, then your sequence counter is set to the 0 or it is made clear. So it means at the every 4th cycle, whenever the D3 operation, D3 will be activated at the 3rd unit, 3rd time, D1, D0, D1, D2, this particular time according to the T0 it will be D0 will work, for the T1 D1 will work, for T2 D2 will work, then D3 will work. Whenever D3 will work, then whenever it is high and the 4th signal, it will reset the sequence counter, or it will clear the contents of the sequence counter to the 0 0 0 0, and once again we will start from the 0, that is the next instruction is to be executed. That is all about uh, the topic which we have started here is the computer instructions, instruction format, basic computer instructions, instruction set completeness, and timing and control. Hope you people have understood the things